All right, everybody, how you doing? Welcome to another video. We just got an update from the Project Epoch team, and I wanted to go through this. It's actually a rather long update. All right, there's a lot of stuff that, I think the main issue that a lot of people, or the biggest curiosity that people have of this whole Project Epoch, Project Ascension merger, if you will, for lack of better words, is what is going to happen to Project Epoch going forward. How is being involved with Project Ascension going to affect the vision of a Project Epoch server and things like that? And I believe based on, skimming through this, where they talk about, the talks with Ascension, what's in it for Epoch, what's in it for Ascension, stuff like that. I think this might answer some of those questions. So we're going to go through this right away. Again, it's not going to be a very long video. This is a pretty lengthy update, but I think it'll go pretty quick. So let's just roll right into it. This was released today, the 14th of August, 2025. So this is an update from the Project Epoch team. While we are undergoing this large and rapid transition to get the server ready for relaunch, we would like to bring clarity and detail to some of the events over the last week and delve into the nitty-gritty of the process of Epoch joining Ascension and what it means for both parties. Okay? Good. Recap of the situation up till last week. All right. Internally, up until about 1 week before launch, we were anticipating a smaller population. Growing pains still seemed likely, but with gradual growth, this would afford us time to scale the team and improve infrastructure. That said, there was a hope the realm could hold more players, and the performance metrics from the stress test seemed promising at 2,000 players. This was a naive blunder on our part, as we didn't predict the bottleneck to show up after a few hundred extra players, where the database begins to choke. I believe this. I really believe this. And I do also believe that it was very naive. I think a lot of people, and you see this a lot in MMO launches, nobody wants to believe that this is going to happen, and everybody wants to believe, oh no, things are going to work out right. So they don't plan for they don't plan for like the absolute worst or something like, or in, honestly, for the absolute best, right? We see this all the time with launches, right? But not like this. But then again, this is a unique thing. So fixing the bottlenecks. After spending the next 2 weeks dealing with player scaling issues plaguing our launch, we finally started seeing positive signs that the server no longer chokes at 3,000 players. A major culprit in what has been the bottleneck was an optional configuration in Trinity Core itself, where we were tracking information about quest completion and abandonment status. Since we're a custom server with a lot of custom quests, this information is very valuable to us. The problem was that this system in Trinity Core was horrendously implemented, about as unoptimized as it could be. On a technical note, there was no indexing, no primary keys with 500,000 rows from many players. This hung and consumed all worker threads. Once that happens, very many things will start failing. During the period of tracking down this issue, we communicated various messages about what we believed at the time needed to be addressed, and it certainly did help migrate the server to a well-configured Linux box and improving the DB backend. But at the end of the day, it was a Trinity Core feature itself that's biting us at the hardest. Okay, it was thanks to some private server veterans that jumped on board to help that we were able to pinpoint the exact source. They spent the days adding deep real-time statistics and logging to async DB queries, which then allowed us to isolate the problem and disable the feature. Without this, we had no fast way to isolate this aside from, carefully combing over various core systems. We will be going out of our way to ensure that this is fixed and properly optimized in both open source, TS WoW codebase, and hopefully Trinity Core itself, so nobody has to suffer from this again. Okay. Leading up to last Friday. At this point, we had made changes to the database, server, infrastructure, and core level adjustments, as well as, frankly, just disabling the quest tracking system at the config. At the stage of crunching, where these fixes were in fatigue, was starting to set in, and the infrastructure had been migrated very rapidly, which introduced friction, especially owing to various pipeline and support tools not being fully updated to work smoothly on the new system. Looking ahead, we knew much of the time in the coming weeks would be spent hot fixing all the potential bugs and other issues that will crop up. While this is to be expected of a launch, the compounding effects of the increased development load, as well as new infrastructure friction, took its toll on the dev team. The servers were quietly put back online to test if everything is running fine in a live environment. That would afford us a small window of time to spread player load across zones and verify the character prune works as expected. If the results were positive, there would be a follow update post that the servers are up and will remain so. After a while, there were issues with the server crash and displacing building in the dwarf starting area. Those alone can be hotfixed, but a larger issue looming over us was the server deployment, and the development pipeline was now arduous to work with due to a hasty infrastructure migration, and because two members on the team were dealing with pressing IRL situations that had cropped up at different points during the launch days. Magic, who had been dealing with loss of a close family member as well as immense stress, had to step away for his own mental health and well-being. K-Totes was juggling handling the servers and dealing with the demanding IRL situation, since pushing forward with the launch at current pace was evidently not sustainable and harmful to people's health. The team made a decision to take the weekend off. This would buy us time to clear our minds, get some rest, and decide what paths to take going forward. Honestly, I think that's really a good idea that they I think that was a really good idea that they did that. They took the weekend to kind of think things through. I know that the community was just itching to play and really wanted to know what's going on. But I honestly feel that the team was really trying to figure that out themselves, so that they can be as honest as possible. It's hard to be as honest as possible when there's so many things coming at you from every which way. All right. Okay, weekend break. Over the weekend, there were extensive talks and deliberations on how to manage the situation we were in, as well as how to deliver Project Epoch in a way that will be stable to play on and not frustration for the players. During that period, members from the Ascension team that had previously helped Epoch with technical matters reached out, and K-Totes and Dutch from Ascension got in touch. All right, I like that. During that period, members from the Ascension team that had previously helped Epoch with technical matters reached out, and K-Totes and Dutch from Ascension got in touch. I really like that. Okay, so here we go. Talks with the Ascension team. All right, they expressed interest in having Project Epoch as a standalone thing in their broader ecosystem, stating explicitly that the project remains independent and autonomous, retaining full control over how to run things as well as monetization. There would also be a signed contractual agreement where this is laid out in clear detail that Epoch controls the vision and features of the project, including all monetization, and Ascension provides the infrastructure and technical expertise. Their engineering team was ready to crunch to have the Epoch backend integrated into their infrastructure ASAP, as well as rapidly patching our current server software so that it will have the stability and massive scalability their servers are capable of. Our team spent the next days weighing the options and contemplating their decision, having clarifying conversations about all sorts of ramifications of joining under the broader Ascension umbrella. After sleeping on it and putting much thought into the matter, the team reached full agreement to proceed with this. We see it as having many benefits for us both as a project and as a team that does not infringe upon or diminish what we want our project to be. And while, of course, it is not an easy decision to make, it was not lost on us that there were many positives to this. Most importantly of all, it becomes sustainable for us to pursue Epoch further, and we know that with certainty that many thousands of hours each of us has put into this project are going to come to fruition. And when I talked when this announcement was first made, I made a video on it, and I kind of touched on this part right here the many thousands of hours each of us have put into the project are going to come to fruition. That was probably, in my opinion, one of the biggest factors in saying yes to the merge, is because of the fact they've spent so much time, so as they put it, so much blood, sweat, and tears into this project. To not see it come to fruition would be absolutely atrocious. But I truly feel that that's really what was on the cusp of happening, because you can only be pushed so far, you know, and a never-ending stream of negative events can only happen so many times in a row before you just say, you know what, I just want my life back together. I just want my life back to normal. Forget it. Chalk it up. You know, this is a failure. That's fine. We'll move on and we'll figure out what to do next. Right. I really thought that we were right close to that. So this is very, very interesting to me. Okay, so what is in this for Epoch? We enter into a contractual agreement that Epoch retains full integrity and autonomy to execute our vision, as well as having full control over anything pertaining to monetization. Epoch enters into the broader umbrella of Ascension servers. We will not operate like, say, the classless realms, which are stylistically different in many ways and have different monetization than we do. We do not deviate from our original vision for what store content on Epoch should look like. No pay to win, no pay for convenience. See, that's important, okay? No pay to win, no pay for convenience, because pay for convenience is something that a lot of private servers do, and while a lot of people rag on it, I'm like, it's not pay to win. It's just not. And I have my own definitions. I know a lot of other people have their own definitions. Anything that gives you any convenience whatsoever, they're like, that's pay to win, you know, and that's fine. That's fine if you feel that way, you know, but people got to make money. So I think that that's very, very interesting that they put no pay for convenience. So that is going to hopefully make a lot of people feel a lot better. Okay, tasteful, high quality cosmetic items that perfectly blends in and complements the overall S-tier art direction, groundedness, and world feel we consider integral to the original World of Warcraft setting. The Ascension team understands that if there was a monetization strategy that jeopardizes this vision of the project, that would not be in their best interest. Okay, awesome. I like that. Furthermore, and you know what? Just to touch on something really quickly, and the reason why that is Epoch is really trying to create something, I don't want to say as close to a classic experience as possible, but as authentic reimagining of a classic experience as possible. I'll put it like that, right? That's good. But it's so different than what Ascension is doing, okay? And this is also not ragging on Ascension by any means. You know, what they're doing is cool. It's very interesting. It's not in my wheelhouse, but I mean, it is cool. All right, furthermore, this grants us access to not only massive server upgrades, but also major client and modding improvements itself, including some of the best talent in the world and the whole modding scene. Ambitious ideas that we have had to shelf because of technical limitations are now fully back in play, and our development team is able to work on Epoch full-time, allowing us to expand the scope and quality of the custom content we produce. Over time, as we begin to integrate this, we will elaborate on what this means for both the dev team and as a player. Down the line, there will be significant performance improvements, improved game rendering, expanded add-on API, among an enormous list of other improvements that we can utilize in improving the feel of the game, as well as pushing our content further. Honestly, I mean, that sounds really good. And the reason why is because this is what I liken it to, okay? Have you guys ever had like a job that you really, really, really love the job? Like, you love this job. It's just such a great life choice for you, but there's one part of the job that just you absolutely despise, and you wish that you could outsource that one job, that one duty of that job, and it would make that job perfection for you. This is how I see that, right? Working on Epoch is a dream, I assume, for the team. It would definitely be a dream for me to make my own Classic Plus server, okay? So I assume this is a dream for them, right? But the back end dealings and all that stuff is probably takes all the fun out of all of it, you know? It's just like sitting there waiting to screw up their day. And now they have outsourced all that stress, all that uncertainty to a team that specializes in that, right? That specializes in making that work. I think this is great when you look at it that way. Now all of a sudden they have the dream job back. And now that you have the dream job back, you can just really, really focus in and hone in on exactly the world that you want to create and attack it. So I am really 100% for this merger. I know so many people are against it, but I really don't think that those people are really thinking about the broader big picture and what it means. You can go ahead and not like something about Ascension that has absolutely nothing to do with their ability to run a server. You know what I'm saying? All that matters with the Ascension team is, can they run a server? Can they have masses of people on their servers relatively without issue? Yes, they can. Do they have an awesome launcher with tons of integrated features? Yes, they do. Then it's a win, because that's all that matters. All the other stuff about Ascension does not matter. It's all hot air. And I think that's really hard for people to it's hard for people to put behind the negatives and focus on the things that actually matter, right? Okay, so what is in this for Ascension? Among the topics discussed with the Ascension team, it was of interest to understand the bigger picture and logic of what's in it for them. While some know Ascension from the classless realms that have been around for years, they have also been working towards becoming a diverse hub for custom WoW content. Yes, they have a video that pops up right when you download the launcher, and in that video almost right away, it essentially says that Ascension is trying to build a launcher and a hub for all the best, what do they call it? They didn't say Classic Plus. They said, custom World of Warcraft or World of Warcraft private servers or something of that nature, basically insinuating that they want to have various different games or various different types of servers under this one umbrella. This is what they're moving towards. So I think that Project Epoch merging with them fits perfectly in their plans. Honestly, I wouldn't say that, I wouldn't want this, and I know this would never happen, but I'm saying even, merging with Turtle WoW is not something that would be against what they're trying to do. I really don't feel it would be. Okay, so where do we leave off? Okay, they provide, we're gonna pick up right here. They provide the technical expertise, infrastructure, and game engine aspects, and the projects running on their infrastructure can dedicate all their resources to executing their ideas. Many of the well-known Ascension servers have a very different style from Epoch. They were not going to make Classic Plus the way Epoch is doing it. They specialize in different gameplay. By having Epoch under the broader umbrella, they have an offering for the Purist Classic Plus audience that is interested in high-quality new content that builds on the feel and world build of the original World of Warcraft. I guess that's just a take that I disagree with, because I don't agree in any way, shape, or form that Epoch is in any sense a pure Classic Plus experience. I just don't. I don't, and I never will. You can never make me believe that. Once you start taking the original work and you start completely redoing it, and not just adding to it, you're no longer a purist. You are a custom, right? So that's just a basic definition. In no way is it better or worse. It's just different, right? I am extremely excited to play Classic Epoch. Honestly, now I'm even more excited to play Project Epoch, believe it or not. You know, I know that's probably in unpopular opinion, but it's just the truth. I am more excited now to play Epoch than I was before. Just because Ascension is involved. Because I know Ascension. Even though I'm not a fan of Ascension's content, I know them. And they have respect within the community as people that know how to run a damn server. Okay? And that makes sense. That matters. Okay? It really does. Okay, introducing Epoch into their broader ecosystem is worthwhile for the exposure alone. If a friction of the Epoch player base wants to check out, say, Classic style realms, or upcoming projects like World of RuneScape, then this brings new players for other projects. World of RuneScape is essentially, if I'm not mistaken, a RuneScape reimagining looking like World of Warcraft, right? If I remember correctly. I've seen some videos on it. I have to rewatch those, but it's something like that. The launcher is designed to make it easy to jump between different Ascension projects, even when they feature radically different content, and them doing a good job at integrating Epoch into their custom WoW hub sends a signal and builds trust, which increases the appeal of future potential projects as well. Very true. Dutch elaborated as to why they see a compromise in the values or monetization of the project as against Ascension's interests. Wait a minute. Dutch elaborated as to why they see a compromise in the values or monetization of the project as against Ascension's interest. Okay. Epoch has a specific vision. I guess this is from Dutch. I'm going to assume this is from Dutch. More than likely posted on the Discord, Ascension Discord. More than likely. I don't know. Epoch has a specific vision of more pure, unaffected Classic Plus experience. Okay. The appeal and value of having Project Epoch in the Ascension ecosystem is actually completely lost if that pure, unaffected Classic Plus experience is jeopardized. That is true. It is in Ascension's best interest if it adheres to their vision. Very true, right? Because that is going to bring in a specific type of player base that is missing from the Ascension umbrella, right? There's a whole bunch of people within the private server, World of Warcraft private server community, the overall private server community that have not tried Ascension or have only heard negative things about it. Okay, so if they jeopardize Project Epoch's experience, then it is just going to be a negative, right? It is in their best interest to allow Project Epoch to be Project Epoch, right? There are plenty of crazy custom realms at Ascension. The value of having Epoch in the ecosystem is enough, and it isn't valuable at all if it has monetization that isn't compatible with their core vision. Very true. And I'm really glad. Again, I think that the Epoch community will be really happy to hear that as well, because not only do they know Epoch side of it when it comes to monetization wherever they discuss that, but now they know Ascension's take on the monetization thing as well. Okay, thank you. During the 2 weeks of hard crunch to get the server up and running, there were several people from outside that poured a lot of time and effort into helping us get off the ground. The war room thing sounds a bit cringe in hindsight, but it really felt like one. We had numerous people on call with us for most waking hours of the day. We had the people behind the TS WoW itself helping in an extraordinary capacity with Linux migration, async logging, code reviews, massive restructures to TS WoW itself, and botting framework for gauging player load. Raid Ghost and Gaga from Whitemane and several other devs assisted with Linux migration. Wow. DB configuration, code reviews, and general advice and guidance. We are enormously grateful for all the help that was received during the first 2 weeks of launch crunch. Same goes for all who sponsor the project GitHub. Much of the money we earned through sponsors will go back into paying for the launch hardware we bought. When the server is back up, we would like to set up a plaque in capital cities memorializing and giving our thanks, listing the GitHub names of all the sponsors that supported us. I think this is really cool, and I really think it's awesome to see various different, for lack of better words, rival projects lending in to try and get Project Epoch off the ground. Honestly, it makes me more happy to be part of World of Warcraft private server community right now, right? Playing as part of that community. We must also extend a massive thanks to Magic, who has been with us since the start of Epoch, and even before that. He parted ways and did a clean break from the private server scene as a whole. As a team, we are very understanding of how difficult his situation has been for him, and are full gratitude for how much care and effort he has put into Epoch over the years. We wish him the best, and when the server is up, should you ever choose to do the Lost Rams quest in Dunmorrow, pour one out for Magic, a great friend of the project who cared for improving the modding scene as a whole. Okay, I'm gonna remember that. If you ever choose to do the Lost Rams quest in Dunmorrow, pour one out for me. I think I actually did that one in the. I think I actually did the Lost Rams quest in the alpha. I believe it's the area where you have to kill Vagash, where some rams have gone missing, and you have to kind of go around the area and grab the rams and wrangle them back to where they got to go. I believe that that's the Lost Rams quest. I could be wrong though. All right. That was one of the earlier quests he did, and it was fun for those of us on the team back then to see his satisfaction with getting working. Yeah. And finally, our gratitude to all those who have been with us through this, from the old timers back when Epoch was a small, comfy community, and to everyone who has recently joined and stayed with us through the ups and downs of getting the server out. We hope to make up for all this when the realms are back up and we get to experience what we've been working on. All right, onwards. Now we are done with the talking. There have been too many words, and the best way to show commitment and integrity will be to demonstrate it. Thank you. The coming updates will be to clarify and give exact information about everything you need to know to get set up and ready for the relaunch. In addition, there is a direct line of communication from the Ascension team themselves, continuously providing updates and addressing frequently asked questions from their side. A team of engineers are working hard to have the server up and running in an excellent state of performance. In the coming days, we'll be running stress tests on the system to push the infrastructure so the project is ready for a proper launch. Our working relationship with Ascension has been excellent so far, with fast communication while their team is getting the infrastructure ready. We are adapting to the new structure and getting ready to handle and respond to the content side of things when the servers are up. As for the present state of things, the team morale is high, and we are looking forward to get cracking again at the roadmap we have laid out before us. While there have been some "we are so back, it is so over" cycles over the last few weeks, we're happy to announce that we are so back. We will not be compromising on what we want Epoch to be. We have a vision, and we're going to go extremely hard on it. See you on relaunch. Okay, honestly, I think that was a really good update. I think it answers a whole lot of questions that people have had about the project as a whole. Squashed a lot of tinfoil hatters conspiracy theories. Like I said, answered a lot of questions that people were really worried about. And going forward, I think the team, both teams, and honestly the community as a whole, have clear direction on what to expect from Epoch going forward based on what this update is saying. Okay, that is whether or not you believe the update, whether or not you trust the update, but that's up to you. I understand that there's some people that probably aren't going to believe it and are probably going to doom and gloom about it because that's just their way. But honestly, me personally, I'm extremely excited for Project Epoch. I'm extremely excited to play Turtle WoW Ambershire server. I made a trailer for Turtle WoW yesterday and released it. And on another video prior to that, I talked about my plan going forward with Project Epoch and Turtle WoW. So I guess I'll just go over it really quickly here. Going forward, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be playing both games simultaneously. Okay? It is not necessarily a challenge, but more a really cool idea that I have for content where I am going to be making a series that is essentially Project Epoch and Turtle WoW, where I will be comparing them apples to apples, right? Elwyn Forest to Elwyn Forest, Dead Mines to Dead Mines, Desolates to Desolates. I use these exact examples, and for some reason, they're the only examples that are coming to me right now. Farrellas to Farrellas, you know, so on and so forth. I'm going to compare all the dungeons. I'm going to be delving into the custom content and seeing the difference between the two servers, the changed content, things like that. We'll be comparing PvP systems, the overall hype and the feel of the servers itself being part of the server, obviously the population of the servers, how it feels, how they run, lots and lots of things. We will be comparing Project Epoch to Turtle WoW, not necessarily to see which one's better, but just because I feel like they are going to be a very, very different take. And I'm honestly equally excited for both of them. I really am. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being equally excited about both games. I don't think that because you're excited to play Epoch means that, you know, you can't be excited for Turtle WoW. I think it's weird. I'm not in that camp. I don't believe in the tribalism of it. I think it's really kind of cringe and strange to do. Clearly, you see a whole bunch of various people in teams of rival, you know, classic WoW projects, custom classic WoW projects coming together to try and help Project Epoch fulfill their dream. And there's no reason why we can't support multiple projects at the same time, right? I think it's kind of cringe to see otherwise. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a pseudo like 10 to 20, 25-ish levels per game. So I'm going to level from 1 to, like, let's say 25, do the starting area / areas, and a handful of the first dungeons. Then I'll switch the other game and do the exact same thing. I am going to try and do the exact same challenges on both games, right? Turtle WoW has slow and steady, and they have exhaustion. Slow and steady reduces the amount of experience you get from creature kills by a flat percentage. I believe it's like 50%, something like that. And exhaustion makes it so that you cannot get rested bonus. Okay, I'm going to be doing those two challenges in tandem with one another. And on Project Epoch, they have, what do they have? They have some kind of contracts. Let me see. Where is the challenges? They have Explorer's Contract. This challenge reshapes how you level by having all the experience sources except for exploration. To progress efficiently, you'll need to fully immerse yourself in Project Epoch's expansion worthy questing content, traveling across the world in search of new discoveries. Okay, so that is essentially the Explorer's Contract. Unfortunately, there's no challenge to go along with that reduces the amount of experience further, like the exhaustion challenge from Turtle WoW. So this is the only one that I will be taking when it comes to that. I will also be going with War Mode. Okay, I will be going with War Mode because I am excited to see Project Epoch's vision on how War Mode works and how the server takes to it. And I'll see whether I like it or not. I can always, remove it if I'm not happy with it. And if I think it needs more work or whatever. You're only getting 5% more experience from it. So I don't really anticipate it's going to change my overall experience in the game anyways. So we'll see. Okay, we'll see. Anyways, if you got value out of this video, please definitely hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. consider watching me live on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/HeroVision. I would definitely appreciate your follow, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.